Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving headfirst into one of the biggest, most profound mysteries out there, consciousness itself. We're going to be digging into a fascinating new paper that proposes a totally radical way of thinking about our own minds. And I gotta say, it might just change the way you see, well, everything.
It all boils down to this one simple question, but it's a question that is just impossibly deep. Why does it feel like something to be you? I mean, really think about it. Why do you have this inner movie playing, this rich, subjective experience of seeing the color red, or tasting your morning coffee, or feeling the emotion of a piece of music? And you know, that really personal question? It's actually one of the single greatest unsolved challenges in all of science and philosophy. It even has a name, the hard problem of consciousness. So here's the deal. We can map out the brain's wiring, right? We can track every single neuron as it fires. But for all our incredible science, we have absolutely no explanation for why all of that physical stuff, that meat and electricity, should create the feeling of being alive, that unique, private, subjective quality of your experience. What philosophers call qualia, that's the real mystery. For decades, we've been trying to explain how the brain produces consciousness, and honestly, we keep hitting a brick wall. And that's led some really smart people to ask a pretty wild question. What if the brain doesn't produce consciousness at all? What if we've been looking at the whole problem completely backwards? To even begin to unpack that, let's look at three really mind-bending theories. Now, don't think of these as competing against each other. Instead, think of them like essential clues. Like three very different puzzle pieces that might just fit together in a way nobody expected. Okay, so first up, we've got the famous simulation hypothesis. This is the idea that our entire reality is basically a super advanced computer program. It's a cool thought, but its biggest flaw is that it just assumes you can code consciousness without ever explaining how. Then you've got analytic idealism, which just flips the whole script. It says consciousness is the only thing that's fundamentally real, and the physical world we see is just something happening inside of it. We're all basically alters in one single universal mind. The big hiccup there is, well, how do you explain why you and I feel like totally separate people? And finally, there's the quantum-holographic idea. This suggests consciousness isn't just information, but that it needs a very specific kind of physical quantum process to happen. Each of these is a brilliant idea, right? But on their own, none of them gives us the whole picture. So, where does that leave us? We've got these incredible but incomplete ideas. One says reality is information, another says it's all mind, and a third says you need special quantum hardware. So how in the world could you possibly bring all of those together? And this is where that new paper comes in and things get really interesting. It proposes this incredibly elegant model that synthesizes these ideas. It's called the Field-Node-Cockpit model, or FNC framework for short. So let's break down what that actually means. Okay, stick with me here, because the analogy makes it super simple. First, imagine there's a universal field of consciousness. Think of it like a cosmic Wi-Fi signal that's just everywhere. Step 2, your brain acts as a node. It's the receiver, like your phone, that's built to pick up that signal. And finally, step 3, your subjective reality. Everything you see and feel and hear, that's the cockpit. It's what gets rendered on your own personal screen. Now, let's be clear. This is a huge shift in thinking. In this model, your brain isn't a factory, burning fuel to create the light of consciousness from scratch. No, it's more like a prism. It's receiving this universal, brilliant light and then refracting it into your own unique, colorful, individual experience. It's a really beautiful idea, right? But is there any, actual evidence to back it up? Well, let's take a look at some fascinating clues from the real world. Okay, get this. A groundbreaking study from 2024 looked at patients with severe brain injuries, people who on the outside appear completely unresponsive, in a vegetative state. And what they found was absolutely staggering. A full 25% of them, 1 in 4, showed clear signs of hidden or what they call covert awareness. These patients could actually respond to commands, willfully changing their brain activity, even though their bodies were totally paralyzed. And the FNC model gives us a powerful way to understand this. Their cockpit, their ability to control their body and interact with the world, is broken. But their node, their brain, is still connected to the field of consciousness. They're still in there. And it doesn't stop there. We're seeing other weird clues pop up all over. For instance, studies on something called hyperscanning show that when two people really connect and engage with each other, their brainwaves literally synchronize. It's like their individual nodes are tuning to the same frequency through a shared field. We're also getting clues from quantum biology. We now know for a fact that nature uses weird quantum effects in things like photosynthesis. So the idea that our brains might also use quantum mechanics, maybe in these tiny structures in our neurons called microtubules, to act as that receiver node, well, it's not so crazy anymore.
The paper's author, Bjorn Wickstrom, puts it perfectly. He says that hidden consciousness shows us a preserved field-node relation when the cockpit of outward perception is disrupted. In other words, the connection can still be there. Consciousness can be present, even when the person has lost all ability to show it. Okay, so we've got a theory, and we've got some pretty compelling clues. But let's just zoom out for a second. If something like this is true, what does it mean for us, for the purpose of our lives?
Well, the traditional biological view says that your life is all about survival and passing on your genes. It's basically a competition. But the FNC model suggests a completely different purpose. It says your life isn't just for you. It's a feedback loop. It's a way for the universe to experience itself through you, with every single unique joy, sorrow, and insight you have being contributed back to this larger, shared mind.
And if you think about it that way, the meaning of your life isn't about what you accomplish or what you accumulate. The meaning of your life is the experience itself. The goal isn't to win the game, it's to play your part, to have your unique perspective, and return that experience to the whole.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. If our lives really are a feedback loop, sending information back to some universal source, what unique message, what one-of-a-kind experience is your life contributing?